And here we go. Is your volume down? It's 5 o'clock, 3rd of April, 5 o'clock UK time. So I'm just going to wait a few minutes and let people jump on. There's been quite a lot of people waiting for this live, so I'm just going to be a bit patient. Hi Maria, how are you? Oh, my kitten is due in any day. She's due her kittens, so I know you can't wait to see them. I can't wait either. Hope everyone's okay. So Jay's going to help me, and so you're going to hear him in the background as always. When do you never hear him in the background? But this time he's going to give me his sort of knowledge in the building side of things. His logical knowledge. He's more of a mathematical mind than I am. So hello, I know everyone's been waiting for this. Do you know something? I'm really excited about this. I'm also, you know, slightly nervous because it is a very controversial subject. And so I you know, want to thank all of you that have been supporting me on the posts and sharing your knowledge, links, and yeah, it's interesting. It's really interesting. So should we get started? I've made notes because otherwise I'll get very forgetful. I just also, literally, while I'm here, I also want to thank my trolls for supporting me and sharing my posts and spreading the word for me. I really, truly am grateful to you. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you. So, we need to start, when talking about the plane we live on, we need to start with a very open mind. Yeah. You know, is it square? Is it a donut shape? You know, it hollow. You know, we have hollow earth as well, you know. Who knows? But it's a subject I really want to discuss. It's a subject that I've been sort of learning about for the last 2 years. Nobody just wakes up one day and decides that they're going to become a flat earther. Nobody. It's a subject that you become a flat earther when you start researching and questioning things, just like we did with the COVID. Now, it does go without saying that I do expect to be laughed at. I do expect to be ridiculed, especially by the trolls, because that's what they're here for. Some do it for fun, some do it for money, whatever it is they do it for, I expect that. But being laughed at being a flat earther is like being called a COVIDiot, but ironically this time it's by the same people who class themselves as being awake. Yet they refuse to believe that we've been lied to about the very place we live on. And that I find really odd. And that's another reason why I wanted to do this, because there's people that are really struggling with this. It's something that they cannot get past. The science and you know, has been taught from so young, and also in schools they cut you off. As soon as you start asking questions as a child, when you look at the globe and you start asking questions, it's like, well, you know, it's gravity and that's it, you know, and this is what it's like. And this, because even teachers don't have the answers. And so you get cut off. And I suppose in life you learn not to question this again. That's what it is. That's how it is. That's what science has told us. You don't need to think about it anymore. You just need to know that we live on a spinning ball and gravity holds everything down. That's it. I've got a few notes. I'm not here. I don't have all the answers for everything. So I'm sorry if there's things that you guys want to know that I can't answer. All I'm going to do is sort of get people thinking, especially the ones that are on the fence, because there really is a lot of people that are struggling. Get people thinking and questioning. I've made some notes. We're going to cover a bit about what the science says. We're going to cover a bit of Antarctica. You know, we're going to cover the moon, the sun, gravity, a little bit of everything. We're going to talk about NASA, and then we're going to talk about why the lie. Why the lie? Now that is the biggest thing, is why would they lie to us? Why would they lie to us about convict? Why would they lie to us about, you know, manufactured medicine? There's lots of reasons why they would lie to us. And this is no different. So I fell into this subject when I started to wake up with COVID. I was following Jamie Freeman at the time. He was one of the very first people. Jamie, if you're watching, hello. And he mentioned something about, oh, and I suppose you think you live on a spinning ball. And I was thinking, what the hell did he just say? He's crazy. How can he say that? No, I was waking up to COVID. It was all too much. Really? He's saying we live on a flat earth. And in my mind, like everybody else, if the earth is flat, where is the edge? It's impossible. It's impossible. It can't be flat. There's got to be an edge. You'd fall off the edge, and that's it. That is it. That's what you've been told. If the earth is flat, where is the edge? That's what they do. They show you these pictures. You know, they put them out for fun. They make flat earth look so ridiculous that you think people are literally falling off the edge. So you don't carry on. You don't carry on anymore because it just looks so ridiculous. It sounds ridiculous. So you stop. You dismiss it. But for some reason, I couldn't stop. And as hard as it was, and as ridiculous as it sounded, and as embarrassed as I was to actually look into the subject, I was actually quite ashamed that I wanted to look into this subject. I felt like, how could you even be questioning this? You're going against the biggest science ever. But yet, I still wanted to know. So I decided to join some groups. And in those groups, you have a lot of trolls. Again, whether they're paid or they're not paid, that's up to them. But they are there to ridicule anyone who wants to know whether the earth is flat or not. And to also make, you know, throw out lies and misinformation so that you don't carry on looking or you get shut down. So, and I did. I got ridiculed, I got attacked, but I found some really good people in the journey that did talk to me and started giving me information and sent me links. And it was one of the biggest awakenings for me. And it actually made COVID look small compared to what the deception behind the globe really is. And it all made sense. And I just don't understand why people don't want to talk about this. And I don't understand why people need to ridicule something when we know that science is lying to us. And yet, if we question that very science, we get ridiculed, just like we have done with COVID. Now, again, I'm not here to make you flat earthers. I'm just trying to spread the knowledge that I have. And I'm not saying the earth is completely flat. Who knows what the earth really is? But it's definitely not a spinning ball. So I want to wake people up to know that they have been lied to. Now, again, like I said, the most common misconception is that most people believe we're going to fall off the edge. Also, most people believe that to be a flat earther, you need to believe in God or the Bible. Now, this could be because there's mentions in the Bible about the earth we live on and the connection to it being God's creation. So just to clarify, I'm not religious, but on my journey of questioning and seeing and searching and learning about flat earth, I do believe there is a lot more tying the Bible to our existence and everyday life. I'm learning that the Bible holds the key to a lot of life's mysteries, such as our creation, our history, and very, very strongly to our laws. The Bible's a very, very powerful book when it comes to law. And you walk into a court and you swear on the Bible. It's very powerful. So the question is not why do I think the earth is flat? Why do you think the earth is a globe? What made you believe that the earth is a spinning ball? The truth is always in plain sight. They don't hide it, they just make you believe the lies. So I've taken some notes, and here from the Next Level trailer, if you've not seen the Next Level, it's the second one is coming out, I think, in June. It's brilliant. Again, it talks about a lot of different things related to flat earth. They don't hide it. They just make you believe the lies. So you've been brainwashed to believe in a corrupt system that steals your mind and your money in the process. Isn't this exactly what's been going on for hundreds of years? They make you believe in their lies. Actors are there to entertain you and to lie to you. Just look at what's going on at the moment with Will Smith and his wife. Is she even a woman? I have no idea. But actors are there to act, to influence you, to hypnotize you, to make you believe in things that aren't real and keep you distracted from the truth. Whenever I watch a video of globers trying to destroy the flat earth questions, I've also noticed how aggressive these globe videos are. They're very abusive and belittling. So there's many videos on Google, you know, I think there's one at the moment, 10 myths about flat earth that they can debunk straight away. And you notice when these people are talking, they are so aggressive and condescending, you know, to anyone questioning, to anyone that's a flat earther. So, you know, if you know the truth, why would you be so aggressive if someone is doing their own research and wants to question things? If you're genuine and you know the truth, you should be calm about it instead of being abusive in your reply. And they always relate, all these videos that have been set up, they always relate to you being too stupid to understand science. They come out with irrational mathematical equations, and then come out with new, never previously discussed ways of proving the earth is a ball. I'm like, when did that come from? And that's how they make you think that you're not capable. There's loads of people like just they can't deal with this. So you're not capable of coming to your own senses, using your own logic. You're not capable. When children are born, you know, they're very, very inquisitive and they ask a lot of questions. And children also have a lot of logic. And when you show a child a globe and they say, you know, that this is where we live, the first thing the child will say, but You know, how can you be underneath? Don't you fall down? And then they tell you about gravity. Children have a lot of logic. So what does science say? Science says we have the Big Bang Theory. As per Google. Google will tell you this because Google supports the fake science and Google supports NASA. How did the Big Bang happen? So about 13.8 billion years ago. Now, knowing what we know now, we know history is completely corrupted. History is his story. So you're only going to be told what they want you to know. How they know about 13.8 billion years ago is impossible. The Big Bang is commonly thought of as the start of all. About 13.8 billion years ago, the observable universe went boom and expanded into being. So you were created by a bang. It's a theory, it's not a fact.
Bang destroys, it doesn't create.
Exactly. When has a big bang ever created anything? The universe began, scientists believe, with every speck of its energy jammed into a very tiny point. This extremely dense point exploded with an unimaginable force, creating matter and propelled it outwards to make the billions of galaxies of our vast universe. Astrophysicists dubbed this titanic explosion the Big Bang. I mean, when you really read this to yourself, it sounds like absolute crap, doesn't it? I mean, and we are meant to believe this science. So the Earth spins at 1,000 miles an hour. Why don't we feel it? Apparently you can't feel it or you can't see it because it's very relative small spin. 1,000 miles an hour is quite big, but they say compared to the size of the Earth, then you shouldn't be able to feel it. Hi Paul, thank you for joining us. Feel free to ask questions instead of insulting. This is what this is about, we're talking. But apparently this is normal. This not being able to feel the Big Bang or the spin, is normal. You know, this is as normal as experienced in the very, very bad side effects from the injection. But don't worry, because science says that's normal. You see, because science says it, it's not a problem. But for the most part, we don't feel the Earth spinning because we are held close to the Earth's surface by gravity and the constant speed of rotation, that amazing gravity. Our planet has been spinning for billions of years and will continue to spin for billions of billions. Now, you mean you're going to just continue to feed us more rubbish and more regurgitation of absolute lies? This is because nothing in space is stopping us. If that motion suddenly stopped, the monument will be sending things flying eastward. Moving rocks and oceans would trigger earthquakes and tsunamis. Funny, we've got those going on anyway. The still moving atmosphere would scour landscapes. It's ridiculous. The Earth travels around the sun at 66.62 miles per hour. 666. Some sites will tell you 67 miles per hour. But again, you can't feel it or see it. This is because your natural senses, your natural eyes, ears, logic cannot compete with science, you see. But this is normal. Again, as normal as the side effects of the man-made drug that everyone's been injecting. The Earth is travelling through space at 492,000 miles per hour. That's a lot of mileage, isn't it? So not only are we spinning and we're going round the sun at 67,000 miles per hour, we're also hurtling through space at nearly 500 miles an hour, yet no one can feel it. No one. But it's okay, because that's normal. No one. We haven't bashed into anything. you know, nothing. But hey, to add to that, our galaxy is moving at 1.3 million miles per hour. But hey, you can't feel or see a movement at all. Why? Because science told you so. And if you question it, you're a flat earther, which means you're a conspiracy theorist, a tinfoil hat. I read a small section of in Forbes magazine. Now, Forbes obviously supports the government narrative, okay, the science, the NASA, and it says, and this is, you know, when you listen to the words they use, you can actually read the lies. We know how big the circle drawn by the Earth is. It's 1 astronomical unit, or just under 93 million miles lie between us and the sun. So there's 93 million miles between the Earth and the sun, which means we have a 584 million mile journey to make it through before the year is out. You'll note that 584 million miles is a larger number of million miles than there are days per year. And indeed, this works out to needing to travel at 1.6 million miles per day along our circular path. If we break this unit into units of miles per hour again, we get 66.658 miles per hour. It's just absolute crap, sorry. After all this movement, which has apparently been happening for millions of years, we are still able to see the same star constellation in the sky every night. We are still able to see exactly the same time by the sundials we have on this plane. If we are moving like they say we're moving, at the speeds they say we are moving, why has nothing on Earth moved? The sun hasn't moved. The stars haven't moved. Space is fake. It is absolute fake. So, and this is something that people, I'm making you dizzy. So this is something that people can't quite grasp, is that we are not moving. We are still. What is moving is the sky, the sun, the moon, the stars. They're above us. The sun and the moon move, okay? But everything else doesn't. We are still. And the other thing they do is, because you believe we're moving through space, you know, then they can start telling you that, oh, we got meteorites coming. Be careful, a meteorite is going to hit the Earth. A meteorite is...
We've got to get ready for the alien invasion.
Yeah, we've got to get ready for the alien invasion. When the truth is, nothing is going to get through what some people call the firmament, what science calls the Van Allen's belt. Because if that's the case, with all the billions and billions and billions of years and hundreds of years we've been alive, and the thousands and thousands of years the Bible's been about, and people have been passing knowledge down, we should have been bombarded by meteorites by now. But there's nothing. Nothing. On a flat Earth model, we have a dome. Some say it's a glass wall, a firmament, or how NASA like to call it, a Van Allen's belt. Now, nothing can get past the Van Allen's belt. And NASA have even admitted this. So them saying that they've been to space, that they know there's galaxies, and they know that we're in a Milky Way, and they know that we are, you know, hurtling through space at 1.3, is absolute rubbish, because we have never, ever, ever left Earth's atmosphere. Now, there are videos out there to prove this. Anyone sitting here right now just can't cope with what I'm saying. Oh my God, how can she say this? There are videos out there to prove this. Now, again, there's a lot of things I'm learning about where we live. There's so much to learn and so much that we've been lied to. Anyway, so NASA have admitted that they cannot leave Earth's radiation. Therefore, never, ever, ever been to outer space. Therefore, they know jack shit. But they do know how to brainwash the masses. Now, one of the first things a newbie would say is about flat Earth is, where is the edge? We'd all fall off. Have you ever fallen off the side of a lake? Have you stood by the side of the lake and fallen off? No, because there is no edge. We are surrounded. Water is contained, and we are surrounded by ice walls and by lands, just like a lake, because water needs to be contained. We have a meme at the moment, right, which says, the moment you ask for real proof that 325,000 cubic miles of water curves around a giant spinning ball, and NASA show you a small drop of water on a leaf to prove that water is a ball, right? That water curves. That's how can you compare one tiny droplet to thousands and thousands and thousands of cubic miles of water? It's impossible. Because one drop of water forms a ball, which only happens, by the way, when surface water lands on either a waterproof surface or a heavily waxed surface, like when you first wax your car. Then apparently this means all flat Earth believers don't understand science and physics. Large bodies of water will always find their level. Water is level, not spinning.
Sea level.
Exactly, that's why it's called sea level, eye level. So then we have the other thing NASA came out was the bucket, the spinning bucket theory. But if you put water in a bucket and you spin it, this proves that the water doesn't come out the bucket. But again, it's contained. I tell you what, put water on a tennis ball and then spin it and watch it fly off the ball. But this is what they talk about. They want you to believe that water sticks to a spinning ball, whether it spins 1,000 miles an hour and hurtles through space at 66.6 miles an hour and is spinning and it's going all over the place. But this water can be contained around this spinning ball with gravity. Gravity. So I'm going to come back to a bit more. Let's talk about Antarctica for a minute, because that is what surrounds our Earth. We are contained on a level plain. Yes, it's got mountains and whatever, and hills and everything. Exactly, John, this is why they had to come up with gravity, because they needed an explanation, which people have fallen for. So we are contained. In fact, who was it that mentioned it? I don't watch this. I've not watched that TV show, but what is it? Where they show Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, apparently. Now, I've never seen Game of Thrones, but they actually show, I've been told, that, you know, the ice walls. So let's just say you want to go and see for yourself where these ice walls are that contain the water, Antarctica. Well, exploring Antarctica is forbidden. Interesting. Now, this came up just after Admiral Byrd went on his adventures and he discovered land beyond our lands, bigger than America. Admiral Byrd apparently also discovered an underground civilization called Agartha. This has actually obviously been ridiculed by scientists and flat earth trolls. So in 1959, the Antarctic Treaty was signed by 12 nations. So what does the 1959 Antarctic Treaty do? It's an agreement signed by 12 nations in which the Antarctic continent was made a demilitarized zone to be preserved for scientific research. There goes that science again. Everything's to do with science. Admiral Byrd was a Freemason, what doesn't surprise me. There are no flight routes over the Antarctic. So even if you wanted to go and explore, you can't fly over it. You see, because apparently it doesn't make sense to fly over there because shorter and safer routes exist. So they're not going to fly that way. But the treaty was put together for the protection of the environment.
To protect the penguin, isn't it?
Yeah, got to protect the penguins. For the land has overflowing with biodiversity, endemic species, blood red waterfalls. It's got gold spewing volcanoes, and it's got underground mountains. So they need to protect all this. And apparently the temperature can drop to a minus 130 degrees. They tried to explain this as completely visible on Google Map satellite view. Therefore, a getaway to the end of the world because the world is flat. They laugh about it because they say you can see this on Google Earth. So you don't need to go there. If you do decide to go and break the rules, you can get fines of up to $10,000 and up to 1 year in prison. This is all to protect wildlife. Really? It's funny how only scientists can go there. Temperature of up to minus 130 apparently, but we must protect the wildlife. Does that make sense to you? Because it doesn't make sense to me. So there's also a forbidden airspace legislation that was introduced by Ronald Reagan, saying that commercial flying laws are that you must always be within 60 minutes of an airfield for safety. So that's another reason why they won't let you fly over there, because you're not 60 minutes away from a safety landing. However, private jets, they don't fall into this category, allowing scientists, etc., to do whatever they like. So this treaty wasn't set up to protect the wildlife. Okay, let me see, Tracy. So that's Antarctica. You cannot explore Antarctica, even if you wanted to. You've been told that Antarctica is the end of what contains, by the way, on a flat plane, Antarctica surrounds us. So we've got ice walls surrounding the globe. Again, out of bounds, you cannot go there. Yeah, Ronnie Reagan was an actor. They're all actors. So that's Antarctica. If there's, a group of us that could fly over there on a private jet just to explore it, it'd be great, wouldn't it? But you would get shot down. You literally would. I think people have even tried it, and they've been warned by the military, and they will shoot you down. Why? Why aren't people allowed to travel the lands freely? If you've got nothing to hide, why? We are locked up in our playpens, you're right. What are they hiding? Because when have they ever cared about protecting wildlife? When? I mean, they experiment on animals every single day. In fact, don't they want to wipe out the animals now? But hey-oh. So, yeah. Now we've got the sun. We're going to move on to the sun quickly. The sun is meant to be 93 million miles away. That's 149.33 kilometres. So if that's the case, Why is it the closer you get to the sun, the colder it gets? If you can imagine a ball Earth and the sun is 93 million miles away, they tell you the sun is burning so hot that you cannot go near the sun. Yet the closer you get to the sun, the colder it gets. How do we know that? Why do mountains have snow on them? They're the closest to the sun. Why do they have snow? Places that get colder get closer to the sun. We have also got video footage of planes flying above the sun. We have seen this. This is what's great about independent people doing their own research, that we've actually got video footage of planes being above the sun, which is why I believe that the sun, the highest plane flight is how high the sun is. This is, and the moon for me, because I've seen live video footage of planes flying above the sun. It is so much more local to us than what we realise. The sun has also been pictured between clouds. If the sun was 93 million miles away, how is it possible for the sun to be in between clouds when clouds are so low? It's impossible. The sun and the moon do not set. People think we have a sunset. In fact, I don't remember who it was, says that when you actually see a sunset, it's a mirage of about 5 or 10 minutes. The sun has already set. The sun, the moon do not set. They just keep going round our plane. They just disappear out of sight. And because they are so close to the earth, the spotlight is much closer, and so when it disappears, it takes the light with it, leaving darkness behind. Exactly, perspective. The sun does not give off light, it does not give off heat. It's a perturbation within a medium. Interesting, Gary. I don't believe the sun gives off heat either, because again, if that was the case, the higher up you go, the colder it gets. And the other thing that's really, really interesting about the sun is that it creates triangular rays. Now, this is something you can do when you're outside, okay? I don't have the technology here to show you. I haven't, I'm not a professional setting with the technology to be able to bring pictures in. But next time you see sun rays, in fact, there was someone that commented earlier saying it's ridiculous. Now, if the sun was that far away, it could not cover local rays to form a triangle, okay? The beams would be like straight all over, not in a triangular,
vertical,
yeah, in a triangular way. So it would be impossible. If it was that far away, it would be impossible. Now, when you look at the sun, your eyes tell you that it is not that far away. It really isn't. Well, we used to have sun gazers as well. People still do sun gaze. I try and sun gaze when I can. I can see when I look at the sun, and you're being told not to look at the sun. But when in the mornings, first thing in the morning, when you get a sunrise, and in the last, evenings when the sun sets, you can look at the sun, and it's actually good for your eyes, contrary to what they tell you. They don't want you to look at the sun because it strengthens your eyes, and if it strengthens your eyes, you won't need an optician, and they lose money. However, when you look at the sun, you can see it is not far away. It is definitely not 93 million miles away. And when you look at that and you see the sun rays, that if it was that far away, should be covering the whole sort of area that you're standing on. Thank you. The sun activates your pineal gland. The sun is very, very important for you. You get told not to look at it.
What do you think Bill Gates is blotting it out?
Thank you. They're trying to block out the sun. So if you want to try this, by the way, sun gazing, you've got to do it first thing in the morning and in the evening at sunset, and start very slow, you know, maybe 5 minutes. Don't be scared of it. It doesn't hurt you. It really doesn't hurt you. And you look at that and you will see that it is not a burning ball of flame. There is not a single flame coming off of that sun. And it's actually beautiful. And it actually makes you feel so amazing. When you look at the sun, you feel energized. It's beautiful. So yeah, there's a lot more. Again, I'm only giving you, don't wear sunglasses. I have this discussion all the time with people. Do not wear sunglasses. Ditch the sunglasses, right? Because what the sunglasses do is they make your eyes think there is no sun, and your eyes work with your skin. And therefore, if you're telling your skin there is no sun, your skin can't then protect you, and you get sunburn. You become extra sensitive. You get skin cancer. Okay? So stop wearing sunglasses, stop wearing sun cream, and be sensible with it. Justin, do not wear. Thank you, Bob.
Just that, Bob.
Now again, the moon. Yeah, sunglasses do cause burn. And the other thing that I, noticed is that some people, they've been given prescription glasses, very thick, or lenses or whatever, and they're out in the sun. And so if you put a magnifying glass in the sun, I've never tried this myself, but someone might have. You can tell me if it works. But if it's true that it works and a magnifying glass is able to burn things behind the glass, imagine what prescription glasses are doing for your eyes. And then people start suffering even more. If you put sunglasses, yeah. So prescription glasses, will make more damage come into your eyes because they're acting like a magnifying glass. So then we have the moon. The moon is meant to be 238 million miles away, according to NASA and by Google, obviously, because Google supports NASA. 12 people walked on the moon, including Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, Peter Conrad, and there's a few more. However, we were able to go to the moon when mobile phones weren't even invented. Yet, we've not been able to go back to the moon, even though technology has advanced so much.
Still go to Mars, though.
Okay, but apparently, yeah, we're trying to go to Mars. I think that's the Mars that they filmed in some desert here. So, in fact, an interview with Don Petit. He's a pet tit. He's NASA's pet tit. His name's Don Petit. One of the heads of NASA quoted, "I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed the technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again." So they had the technology to go, but they don't have it anymore, yet we've advanced so much. If you've seen some of the memes of, I can't show you because I don't have, I've got the memes here, but I don't have the technology to do it. But if you've seen some of the memes of the machines they used, the space rocket or whatever what was it? It was like a
fold-up chair.
It was like whatever it was they used to get this tin foil, man-made, fake space station rocket that they used to get to the moon is absolutely a laughing joke. Honestly, in fact, they even had a moon buggy that was bigger than the spaceship they travelled on. Considering that they have admitted they cannot leave the Van Allen's belt or the firmament.
Sorry for the cameraman.
The cameraman, that's right.
Because he got there first and they just left him behind.
Yeah.
He's still up there.
Someone was filming, weren't they, from the moon? And by the way, where were the stars when they were filming on the moon? There's so many clues when you start researching this, and there's some amazing links and amazing videos, and there's so many clues to get you thinking of the lies that we've been told. You know, I can't answer everything, but I know
you
that
see any of the satellites flying around the world?
No, I can't. I know what we've been told is absolute rubbish. And when you look at, and they're trying to destroy this, but we've got brilliant people that have recorded it, taken pictures, kept it. Whatever they used, that space wagon that went to the moon, oh my God, honestly, it's the funniest thing ever. So then there's some interviews of people trying to prove the lies of the guys going to the moon. And the guys that walked on the moon would not swear on the Bible that they walked on the moon. Buzz Aldrin was one of them. Mm-hmm. Instead, these people trying to interview them and say, do you swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon? These guys walked out. If you've got nothing to hide and you've done it, why would you not swear on the Bible? It's because they're guilty. They did not walk on the moon.
I mean, I always wanted to be an astronaut, but I can't swim.
That's, yeah. And there's loads of things there. So, I don't know if I've put it in here. I'll mention it now anyway. There is a video with Buzz Aldrin, and he's been lying all of his life about walking on the moon. And in this video, he's an old man, and I think it was an 8-year-old girl asked him the question about walking on the moon. And something in him must have clicked and said, you know what? I can't lie anymore to this little girl. And he actually told her the truth. And he said, we never did. He said, I want to know because we never did. He admitted they have never, ever been to the moon. So, if the moon was... The reason they've never been to the moon is because you cannot land on the moon. Because the moon is not a solid planet. If it was, how come you can see through the moon during the different phases of the moon? Like, for instance, blue skies, half moon. You should not be able to see the sky on the other side of the moon. That's missing. Yet people have managed to see stars, you know, clouds, all of it. That means it's not solid. There's a video of a scientist. It's again, there's a lot of information, a lot of videos, a lot of talks. And there was a scientist few years, I think it was many years ago, and he said that in his opinion, man would never ever land on the moon because the moon is plasma. I don't know what the moon is, but I know we can't land on it. And again, at the moment, I think what we've got a very, very small moon. And you can see straight through the moon. If it was solid, you wouldn't be able to see. You'd still see a dark shadow, wouldn't you? The dark side of the moon.
If it's a solid mass, you would, yeah.
But if it was solid, you would not. You'd still see the moon dark.
How come the moon's a bright light at night, but when they was walking around on it, it was dark?
That's right, yeah. Because apparently the moon is meant to get its light from the sun. So the moon is getting its light from the sun, but studies have been done that the moonlight should be warm if it gets its light from the sun. Yet independent researchers have shown that the moonlight is colder than the shadow of the night. The moon is also alleged to control the tides. Apparently the moon controls the tides, but yet it's got such power to control the seas and the tides, but it cannot move the waters in a lake. Why is that? If it's that powerful that it can control the oceans and the tides, why can't it control the waters in a lake? So this was interesting, and I'm going to read it to you because I thought because we're constantly learning. Again, I don't have the answers. I just found these things very, very interesting. If you've watched mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing videos, it's called the lost history. What's it called? The lost history of flat Earth and what on earth happened. I think both. One is 13 episodes. One is like 5 hours long. They are brilliant. Okay. Because they question things. They question things that you wouldn't even normally question. And they show you things that science wouldn't show you, that science doesn't want you to know. And it makes you think, oh my God, that is actually a very good possibility. Because isn't that what science is? A possibility of this, possibility of that. But they don't want you to know this. So there's a picture of a full moon. And it looks like an X-ray. And there's I'm going to read the write-up that they've written on this. The moon appears to be a unique and occasionally translucent plasmatic light source, believed to be created by a converging point of electromagnetism which ionizes primarily the krypton gas of that region of the ionosphere. Not only that, but our moon appears to be an inverted X-ray of the Earth's surface, displaying the Earth's continents as the splotches on its surface, the dark patches on the moon, the Earth's continents, and the white of the moon is displayed images of our oceans. So what they're saying is that it's an X-ray or a negative reflection of a mirror of our Earth. That's actually a very interesting thing. I'm sorry, I don't know if you agree or disagree because you're still thinking that man landed on the moon and you're stuck there. But if you've gone past that and you've opened your mind, actually that's actually a really good, theory that it's possible that the moon is actually reflecting the image of the Earth. But if that is the case, what it does show is it even displays the hidden lands beyond the Antarctic ice wall, revealing that we only live upon one section of the full face of the Earth. This is where Admiral Byrd in the 1950s admitted to these hidden lands, and here they are. So if you look at the moon and you see all the dark blotches, imagine that next time you look at that as the reflection of the lands on our plane. So that's the moon. I mean, there's a lot more we could talk about the moon landings, but I'm not going to go there. So now I'm going to touch quickly on the curvature. The curvature. Where's the curvature? Where's the curvature? So they tell you that there is a curvature. Obviously, there has to be a curvature because it's a ball, isn't it? So everything goes around it. There's got to be a curvature. And there's a measurement to this curvature. Is it every 8 miles? There's got to be a certain amount of drop. Now we have a debate with the globers and saying that our calculations are wrong, but that side, they say that there is the curvature and the ships go over that vanishing point, proving that we have a curve, 8 inches per square miles. But they're saying that that's not the right calculation. So even though that may not be the right calculations, we have enough proof that there is no curve. Zero, nothing, nada, niente, finished. There is no curve. Because even if it's 8 miles or 20 miles or, there's got to be a drop. But we have enough evidence to prove there is zero curvature. Zero, none. But they tell you that there's a vanishing point because that is the curvature. But that's not the curvature. That's just your vanishing point of vision.
Your eye perspective, yeah.
It's the law of perspective. And this has been proven. Someone commented today and said it's not been proven. Yes, it has been proven. We have proven that the vanishing point is just where your eyesight ends and you cannot see past that. But you, with a camera, with a good telescope, you will zoom in again and see that ship that you think has gone over that curvature. 30,000 feet up in a plane, I saw no curve. Yeah, there is no curve. I've been on planes as well. I'll tell you where the curve was. It was in their little windows, just on the sides.
Fisheye lenses.
They use fisheye lenses. They use, on an aeroplane, they use windows to make you think the glass is curved, to make you think there's a curvature.
You see, Colin just pointed out, works out 66.6 per every 100 miles.
Yep.
It's just that 666 comes in all
666 comes in a lot.
Yeah. Still with at 66.6 as well.
So
traveling at 66,600 miles.
I've done this with my phone, and I don't have, an absolutely amazing telescope. But when I've seen that I cannot see the ship anymore, I've zoomed in with my phone, and I can then start seeing it again. So imagine if I had a brilliant camera or telescope where I could zoom in. The ship does not disappear. There is no curve. It's proven, it's fact. And this is why we have flat earthers, if you like, because they're questioning the curvature. Where is this curvature that NASA is telling us? There has to be a curvature because the ball is round. Where is it?
Right now.
So we have one of the longest bridges in the world in China, the Danyang Kunshan Grand Bridge. It's part of the Beijing to Shanghai high-speed railway, and it's 102.4 miles long. No curvature. It doesn't go over. It's not being built, and it has a curvature. Now, there's a reason for that, because a builder, and many builders will tell you this, when you're building something, you use lasers, right?
Yeah.
A laser will give you a straight line.
Lasers don't bend.
They don't bend. Sonar and laser will never ever be able to bend, even underwater. Submarines, they use sonar and laser. They don't bend. They can't. They're a straight line, and they can go for miles.
Yeah, all missiles in Navy, RAF are laser guided.
Yeah, yeah.
And if there is curvature, you'd never see a ship from 300 miles away, but they pinpoint the ship with a laser, and that missile will hit directly where the laser is.
So 30 miles away and even longer, a missile can lock up and target and shoot. 30 miles. If the Earth was spinning, if the Earth was a curve, they would not be able to do that. Also, if the Earth was spinning,
yeah, the salt flats are perfect.
They would have to allow for that spin, but they don't. I think that's known as the Coriolis Effect. So 9 miles away, by NASA's calculation, a target should be 26 feet below vision, but it isn't, because lasers will work in a straight line. So there is no curvature. It is the first easiest thing to debunk. These are the easiest things to debunk, is the fact that the sun is not 93 million miles away just by the rays, the sun rays. You can do it yourself. Your eyes will tell you. Your eyes are your science, your logic. They tell you, you can see it. Don't let science keep lying to you. Again, we send one of the longest bridges. Now, natural salt flats, also called salt pans in Bolivia, span 100 miles long and 80 miles wide. They are totally flat.
That's why they do land speed records there, isn't it?
What do they do?
The land speed records of the cars, they do like 600 miles an hour.
Do they? 10,000 square miles of flat. That is impossible. And I know there's people here that say, until you can prove this to me, until you can prove that to me. We have a few people saying you need to prove. This in itself proves we are not living on a globe, because if that were the case with NASA's calculations, even if we got it wrong at 8 miles, each 8 miles is, even at that, 10,000 square miles of flat salt lakes would be impossible. Impossible. If curvature was real, planes could not fly on autopilot. Autopilot will take you off the face of the globe. You'd go into space because you're going up, then you go onto autopilot, the world is round, you'd be going off of it. That is another reason why the Earth is not curved. If it was curved, imagine, you know, your planes would be going off. Where would you be going? To the next? You'd be going to Mars, maybe. You'd be heading towards Mars, which is not really out there. It's just crazy. And that's another thing that people say. How can the Earth not be a globe when the sun and the planets are round? Until you see the planets through your own telescope, with your own eyes, which a lot of people have done, and they've proven that those same planets that you see on the TV that NASA shows you are not what you're seeing on a telescope. They are not the same. They're not planets. Maybe they're suns and moons from other realms, who knows, from the, you know, extended lands beyond Antarctica, who knows, theories. But yeah, so planes would not be able to fly in a straight line. And we have people that have actually taken a spirit level on a plane. It's been shown and it's never moved. The spirit level has not gone, you know, and moved, because if there was a curvature, the planes would have to be dipped forward all the time. All the time. You would not be able to go around the globe unless the front of your plane was constantly dipping. You'd be dipping. Every 8 miles you'd have to dip. Come on, people. This is not the science that NASA tells you. You don't need all that. This is the whole point of this discussion. You don't need all that. Your logic will tell you you've been lied to. So the other thing is, no matter how high up you go, and you can only go up to a certain point anyway, the horizon will always remain eye level, which proves we live on a plane. It doesn't curve. And if we go up and we see the horizon, if there was a curvature, we wouldn't be able to see it. By the way, another thing about sunsets, I can't show you because, again, I don't have the technology. But next time you see the sunset, and the sun's meant to be 93 million miles away, and you are by the water and you see the sun, the line of the sun on the water, you know, it's beautiful sunset on the water, and there's a line of sun. If the globe was a ball, you wouldn't be able to see that. You just wouldn't be able to see that, because the ball would stop the sun rays laying flat on the water.
You only get a reflection on a flat surface. Yeah,
you can only get the reflection on a flat surface. That's right. But again, all this is provable. It's in the videos. It's people's independent research. Are you saying the Earth is flat? Yes, I am saying the Earth is flat. I'm giving you clues, Mark. I'm giving you clues to question where we live. Look, you know, I'm not saying it's completely flat. Who knows? But it's definitely not a spinning ball. It's definitely not what they tell us it is.
Every picture NASA's ever shown of the globe is all CGI. And if you look over the years, the shape of the landmass changes on every depiction of the globe.
Yep.
It's all bullshit.
The other thing that I was thinking about is, do you remember when we had the 9/11 whatever, right? 9/11 happened, we had high terrorist situation, and you know, terrorist hijacking planes. We know, right? Anyone that knows that this was part of the agenda, part of the fear. Anyone that knows the truth knows, okay? So what they decided to do because of this terrorism is stop anyone entering the cockpit to talk to the pilots. Now, before that, you used to be able to go and see the pilots. I know because I've done it. You shut the door, please. And I took my daughter on a flight when we were young, and we asked to see the pilot, and they let us go. Then 9/11 hit, no one's allowed to go and see the pilot. Interesting, because if a hijacker really takes over a plane, do you really think a flimsy door between, you know, the plane and the cockpit is going to stop a hijacker going in? No, it's not. But what is interesting is that there was a massive increase of people questioning the flat earth, the globe theory, and going to see the pilots in the cockpit and recording it and asking them, is the earth flat? And they have video evidence of the pilots telling them, yes, it is.
Totally
yes,
flat.
Totally flat. In Spanish, in you know, in America, in wherever. They have evidence that they don't want you getting out. The other thing is that, believe it or not, on one of NASA's training manuals, it actually says that for the purpose of this training, we will be doing the simulation based on a flat, non-rotating Earth. It's in their training manual. In one of the videos, I think it's the level 21. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. There is a pilot who was 25 years in her job and never ever questioned it. Never. And it wasn't until she left that something happened. Obviously, she started looking into it. And that's when she realised, all them years, she didn't even question. She wasn't looking. If you've been taught not to question anything, you don't look for it, do you? Yeah, so even pilots who are awake know the earth is flat. They know. So we have space. We know space doesn't exist. By definition, space is a vacuum, and a vacuum is devoid of matter. So space is almost, this is by science, space is almost an absolute vacuum, not because there's suction, but because it's nearly empty. So in space, a vacuum means there's nothing there. There's no air, there's no anything. I'll put the links. I will put the links in here. To many of the videos. There's some amazing people. We'll talk about it in the end. Now, space. So remember this. We're going to know why space is a vacuum. So that means there is nothing, absolutely nothing in space. They cannot be. There's no anything. It's empty of everything. Right. So now we're going to just quickly look at spinning. If the world was spinning, as we say, ships and planes would also have to follow the Earth's spin. So they would have to change their coordinates to allow for the Earth's spin. So this is something that they don't do. That's another thing.
It's the same with missiles.
And it's the same with missiles, exactly. It's the same with snipers, people that, you know, use guns and shoot for fun, for work, for whatever, they don't allow for the Earth's spin, because there is no such spin.
So drones, they hover up there for hours.
Drones, that's right, they can go up. Helicopters, okay? Helicopters can lift up and not move.
Think about, what does the gravity pull them back down?
Well, Earth, by their laws, once you leave, you should be, a helicopter shouldn't be able to just stay there. If it did, the Earth should be moving. But apparently, by NASA, the whole atmosphere is taking everything with us. It just wouldn't happen. Planes land on a non-moving runway. It doesn't account for Earth's movement. They don't change their coordinates. You would have to accommodate time to distance. If we fly in a different direction to the Earth's rotation, time would be different.
Planes always fly from point A to point B.
Yeah, time would be different, because if the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour and a plane can travel at 500 miles an hour, well, you should be arriving in no time if you go the different way, shouldn't you? Another thing which is very, very true is a compass would not work on a spinning ball. Now you've said it, it's actually so. It is obvious. It's all very. It's not until someone starts making you think about it that you then start thinking about it. Until then, you've never ever questioned it, ever. Now, a compass would not work on a spinning ball. A gyro on a ship works on an old compass. How can a compass work when we are spinning? It would be going crazy. A compass works because it points to the strongest magnetic field. That's the other misconception, is people think that because we live on a flat plane and we're not spinning, that we don't have a torus field. We still have a torus field. We still have strong magnetic fields. We still have the northern lights. That northern lights is what creates, the reason we have them is because there's a strong magnetic field there. Compass works wherever you are, constantly pointing to north. If you leave a compass flat and don't touch it for the whole day, it would have to move. If we are spinning, it would be going crazy. Yeah, that's just logic. Planes don't use fuel. I wasn't going to go into that, but that's a very good point. We've been told planes use fuel. That's a whole different topic. The Coriolis Effect has never been detected and is not accounted for in any walk of life. The Coriolis Effect means that things, have to, one, turn the same way. Apparently there's, if you're this side of the equator, it's turned this way. It's not true. It's been debunked. The Coriolis Effect also means that you would have to take into account the movement, the spin of the Earth. So now we go to satellites. Remember, satellites, right? This is what's I love satellites. Don't you just love I love satellites. I think satellites are great. I mean, they're so amazing. They're such an amazing technology that you can never pick up signal when you're in a valley. Even though there's a satellite up there in the sky somewhere, you can never pick up a phone signal. Why is that?
But Nixon was able to phone the moon.
Yeah, he was, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So we struggled to get signal in valleys, but we were able to communicate with men on the moon by phone. A phone that, by the way, still had a cord attached to it, and there was no internet as such at the time. There is no such thing as satellites. Remember when Google Earth was, come on people, the young generation might not remember this, but I remember when I was young and you had Google Earth and you thought that satellites were actually taking pictures of the Earth and you could zoom in and you could see your street view where you lived. And then all of a sudden I saw a car driving down with a big long pole and a camera. And that was Google Earth. Do you remember that? Mm. That was Google Earth.
That's buy up 98% of all helium.
That's right. So it was a camera attached to the roof on an extended pole, taking pictures of your roads, and that was Google Earth. It wasn't satellites. When you have a satellite dish put up, so you get sky, they have never pointed it directly to the sky, because if satellites are up there and they say that we need to point this to the satellite, why don't they just point it up to the sky? But they don't. They have to aim it at an angle so that they can point it to a dish which is on the ground.
And pylons.
Or pylons, yeah. So again, if satellite exists, why do you lose signals in valleys? It's ridiculous. Because if they're up in the sky, a valley wouldn't matter. It would make absolutely no difference. So
we lose phone signal going over the bridge.
They have used, I know, yeah, you only have to go where we live. You go over the bridge and you lose phone signal. In fact, you're going up the hill, over the bridge, so you're coming from down and going up over there. And as soon as you get to the top of the bridge, you lose signal. But the satellite's up in the sky, so why would that happen? They have used, how do they get satellite? There has been satellites in the sky, okay? They are drones, they're not satellites. And they have used balloons, absolutely massive balloons, to bring satellites into the sky. Many of them actually falling down, which they then stopped doing. And if there were satellites in the sky, you know what man-made technology is like, you know, computers are always breaking. And let's not forget, space is a vacuum. Nothing, it's empty, it's void, it has no atmosphere, it has nothing. Yet they want you to believe that satellites are staying up there fixed in one position. Or that they're actually orbiting our Earth, even though there's no anything. It's dead, it's void. Impossible. Just like rockets wouldn't be able to go up into space because rockets need fuel. And they can't.
No, there's no combustion. Flames can't combust without oxygen.
Exactly.
So the rockets just die out. There's no oxygen up there.
There's no oxygen. Our rockets wouldn't be able to go up there. So how come I can sit on a nice clear night and watch satellites go by? Like I said, satellites can be drones. They do use drones. In fact, it was, what's his name? Elon Musk. He had a whole load of satellites, but they weren't. They were all drones. That's what they are. They're not satellites. There's no such thing unless they're attached to something like a balloon.
Didn't he put a Tesla car up into space?
Yeah, Tesla car, please. Yeah. He actually, yeah. Now, yeah, they've used balloons. Most satellites are actually grand towers, cables and masts and discs. We have many underwater cables because when you go out to sea, you lose signal. Why would you lose signal when you are out at sea if we've got satellites? So everything is done by big, dishes and cables. Your phone works, the 5G, they're towers, 4G, they're masts, they're cables. That's how it works. There's no satellites. Now, there's a really easy way for NASA to completely wipe flat earthers off the face of the spinning ball. They could quite easily prove us wrong if they went live on a satellite and showed us the Earth in real time. Why can't they do that?
Well, they landed on the moon I don't know how many times and never took no photographs. But most women have verified this. When they go to the toilet, go to the bathroom in a pub, they take 60 pictures.
I know. If the flat Earth was fake, NASA and its science could quite easily destroy the flat Earth theory in a nanosecond by showing us live, real-time footage of the Earth, top and bottom, people upside down. But instead, they shut any resources down, independent researchers, or lower it in the feeds, making it hard to search for, or make fake pages of documentaries like Over the Curve on Netflix to make anyone questioning flat earth look so ridiculous. If satellites were real, knowing the way the TV works and, you know, how much money they love to make about these things, they would be by now a daytime TV channel literally based on space. Live view by satellites. There are no such things. They could completely debunk the globe earth theory to improve vision of the globe right there. There you go. There's your proof. But they can't. I used me EMF, yeah. Now, gravity. Let's talk about gravity quickly. Children, again, will always ask logical questions. But why? But how? How many, you know, who's got kids? Why is that? Why is this? How's that? That's what children are like. Very, very inquisitive. Their brains are like sponges. They want to learn all the time. And the most illogical thing for a child when looking at the globe and learning about the world is, how do things stick to the bottom of the ball and not fall off when they're upside down? And we get shut down straight away. Straight away. Now, if gravity, we get told, is so strong that it holds the seas. Now, you think about how vast the seas are.
And the weight of water.
The weight of the water. Now, you think about this logically, okay? Don't think about it in what science has told you. Don't think about it in what NASA's told you, or some Einstein or whatever. Think about this with your own mind. If gravity is so strong that it can pull the weight of the seas to a ball while it's spinning, how come such weight of the seas, how come fish can swim freely in water?
How can birds fly? How helium balloons go up? How
come waves, we have surfers, Australia, Cornwall, there's loads of places in the world that they go surfing with big waves. How come you can have a wave coming up of water so high? But gravity is holding the waters down. Remember this. Gravity is so powerful, it holds the seas down. But that wave can come up and then come back down so freely. But gravity is that strong that it holds the seas. The most powerful weight is masses and masses and masses of water, yet the water can move quite freely. Tides come in and out. The sound of the water coming in and out. You know, if it was that powerful, fish would not be able to swim freely. If gravity was so strong, helium balloons wouldn't be able to just go up into the sky. If gravity is so powerful, why does everything grow up? Why do the plants grow up? Why? Nothing grows down, does it? If it's so powerful that it's holding everything down, trees and plants wouldn't be able to grow up. There's so much more that you could question about gravity. Butterflies, bees, insects. Insects are so tiny. Gravity's so powerful it holds the seas down. But a little tiny insect can fly so freely. So, you know, what is it? What is it that makes a ship float? It's not gravity that holds the ship down. So the ship is heavier than a wave, but gravity can hold the heaviest thing, like a ship, a cruise ship, on water, but it can allow that wave to come up and let the surfer surf the wave. There is no spinning ball. Water always finds its level. Masses of water will always find the level. And it's about relative density, buoyancy, mass. It's all about that. You know, what was it that the apple, the theory of gravity, dropped an apple in a puddle or something and it sunk? I don't even remember. But it's but the apple will float. But when he dropped a stone and it sank, of course it will, because it's heavier than the apple.
Yeah, it's all to do with density.
It's all to do with density. But if you search on Google, it will come up with a whole load of rubbish. In fact, someone sent me a 10 things to debunk flat earth, and one of those things was the fact that they're trying to say to you that there is no upside down, there is no up, there is no in Earth's, outside Earth's atmosphere while we're spinning, there is no upside down, there is no going up and down, because the reality is at some point or other while we're spinning, not only will you be up top, but you'll also be going to the side. So at some point you will be on the side. If we are spinning, you'll be ending up on the side before you end up upside down. But now they're trying to say, the globe pushers, that there is no up, there is no down. You see, because flat earth people asked the question, if we're spinning, at some point rivers will have to flow up because we're going up. So how can a river flow uphill until it gets over that curve and comes back down? When the river starts flowing back down, it will have to go up. How does that work on a spinning ball? You want to know how planes fly without fuel? We'll go on to, if anyone's got the answer for Sarah, let her know. I haven't looked in. There is a thing about planes, and naturally you're being charged a lot of money for nothing. So, gravity.
There's no fuel tanks on a plane.
Yeah, there's no fuel tanks. Anyway, it's gas. I think it's like compressed gas, which helps you take off. But once you're up there, I don't know. I haven't looked into it. So yeah, gravity is absolute rubbish. It's because of the weight of things and what they drop into. An apple will float, a stone will fall, because a stone is heavier. Relative density, volume, mass, buoyancy, all come into it. What about the water car? Listen, it's how they build ships. Ships are huge, yet they manage to float. It's engineering. And by the way, there's many engineers who have become flat earthers because they got engineer brains. They know how things work. We're told the core of the earth is very hot. If you do a Google search, we know what Google tells you, what they want you to know. 40,230 foot. This is the Kola super deep borehole, the deepest hole, the deepest man-made hole on Earth, and the deepest artificial point on Earth. 40,000 odd feet down is 12.2 kilometers, which is 7.58 miles. So that's the deepest hole they've ever been able to dig. And by the way, construction to drill, constructions is so deep that the locals, and this is on Google, you can search this, what's, you know, the deepest that man's been able to sort of dig, and the locals swear you can hear the screams of souls tortured in hell. So they've only been able to go 7.58 miles. How do they know that the core of the earth is so hot? That there is this big hot ball in the center of the earth, and that hot ball is what's making the earth spin. It's one bullshit after another. It's not true. And don't forget of all the underground caves we have, all the underground tunnels. Don't forget, there is a whole world for the elites, for the corrupt, for the traffickers under, that they've dug. And they're meant to be going closer to the core, the hottest part of the earth, yet they keep digging to go down, and it's cold. So, this is just the beginning to get you thinking. There is so much more that you can look at yourself. So much. The world is literally a stage. We are literally part of a real life fictional movie. Like everything to date is a stage. It's a show. It's all CGI, and NASA has not been able to show a true image of the round globe. In fact, if you follow their image of the globe over the years, they've changed it and changed it and changed it, that even they don't know the truth. The globe is an artist's impression.
It's all CGI.
They're not consistent with their own images. If that's the globe,
is different size, different colour.
They're not consistent.
All
They're
the cloud
liars.
formations are printed mirror images all over the globe.
We even have films that mention the flat earth. Men in Black, there's a quote in a film, Men in Black. He says 500 years ago everyone knew the world was flat. The Truman Show, based on an enclosed world. And the quote of the Truman Show, one of the quotes in that show is, "We accept the reality of the world we are presented with." And that is true. We accept the reality we are presented with. Let's look at NASA for a moment, right? Just how much of taxpayers' money do NASA make each year?
60 million a day.
It's crazy. In 2020, they've made 22.629 billion a year. That's 0.48% of all US government spending. This was a 5.3% increase from the previous year, and each year it keeps going up. What is really interesting is that in 1966, 3 years before the first moon landing took place, money spent on NASA peaked to an astonishing 49.4 billion. That's in 1966. That's double what they've made now. The Apollo project cost 25.8 billion. The robotic lunar program cost 907 million. It's just crazy. And I mean, look at what they used to go to the moon with. I mean, they could make that in primary school. The Artemis moon program cost 93 billion through 2025. So this is very recent. You have to ask yourself, what are they really doing? You know, in the year where they were before the first moon landing, 49.4 billion, what were they really doing with that money? Because it certainly didn't go on the moon. It certainly didn't go on those men going on the moon. What were they really doing? And considering inflation, that was a lot of money back then. They have pushed the fake science using out of this world complicated maths calculations to make people feel so completely stupid and think they are incapable on relying on their own natural abilities, their eyes, ears and sight to apply logic. They make you feel incapable of going up against what they call science, and therefore you will never question the science even when the science is fake. Well, with all this money they're getting, how come we've never stepped foot on the moon again? By now we should be having shuttle trips there and back for a family day out. Family day out to the moon. How much of the fake space CGI was actually done underwater? Bubbles were spotted in the visor of the helmets, which became a trend. Bubbles in space. Also, they've staged a lot of these, you know, in the front, like with a green screen behind. It's all CGI. How much money is involved in the NASA globe theory? Hollywood is huge with its out-of-space films, children's books, shows, films, wallpapers, shoes, clothes, etc. How much money are they getting? Where is it really going? probably going on making you transhuman. There is a video footage, right, of a former Polish astronaut. I'm not going to say his name because I don't speak Polish and it's very long. On an interview admitting Earth is flat, he said, "I assure you it's flat." And this can be seen on the YouTube channel of a flat earther, DITRH, who, by the way, he purposely went out to debunk flat earth and became a flat earther. An old lady, there's a video footage again on his channel. An old lady who's 102 years old, he asked her what shape the earth is. She was taught in school that the earth was flat when she was young. But later, in her life, they changed it to a globe. And she believed them. She was young and believed in the science. It made her, you need to see this video, absolutely, it was just, nearly made me cry. It made her feel alive and better, realising we live on a flat plane. Because we are the centre of creation. We are God's children. We are important. I'm not religious, but it seems there are over 200 verses in different Bibles that refer to flat earth. Now, they don't say the earth is flat, but they make reference of similar contexts. One verse mentions the earth is a circle. God created a firmament and put the earth on a footstool and separated the waters from the water, as above, so below. Here is a question. If we have infinite darkness beyond our blue skies, if beyond our blue skies everything's void and it's infinite darkness, then why is the sky a light blue colour instead of a dark blue? Because if you have a light blue and behind it you have something black, surely we should have a dark blue sky, a navy blue sky. Yet we have a sea blue sky. I don't know. Our brain is an empty vessel. They pour their fake science into us and then expect us to regurgitate it. Science has become the new religion, a cult, and if you happen to question the science, you are labelled a conspiracy theorist. Science should always be open to debate and speech should always come with freedom. Why is flat earth being censored? If it's crazy, why are we being shut down? Why? Just like the scientists and the doctors that were getting shut down who were going against the COVID narrative. Why? Now, why the lie? Nearly finished. Okay, so this is it. I don't know how long have I been on this. Sorry, I hope I'm not boring you all, but why the lie? This is some notes that I've made, as well as some notes that I've taken to put together from some of the videos and speakers and people I've been following. This is a test of humanity and their brains. They want to hide free energy, natural minerals and resources. They want everything for themselves. And that's why you are actually being charged for Earth's natural resources, like electricity, like water, like gas, because it's part of Earth's natural resources. They want to hide extra lands. They don't want you to know where they're going. Maps have been changed over time. Lands have been taken out of the maps. They don't want you to know. Do you think, what's his name in that got away, managed to escape that Fort Knott prison? Epstein.
Jeffrey Epstein?
Yeah, Jeffrey Epstein.
He's not dead, is he?
You know, he's probably sitting on one of the lands that is not on the map. How do you think they also traffic children and traffic women and traffic? They have hidden lands they don't want you to know about. Why would they want you to know? You're not important to them. You're below cattle. You're a useless eater. What makes you think they're going to share important things with you? Why lie? To make you feel like you're too stupid to think for yourself, or you can't be trusted to use your own brain. And they throw all these maths calculation, infinite numbers, infinite calculations that you just think you can't do. And you think, oh my God, I could never be a scientist. Of course you can't, because it's all fake. We're being taught from very, very young to go against our common sense and logic, and to believe only what we are taught, or more so, told to believe. Nature doesn't lie, men do. Now,
and women.
The globe deception and the power of the Bible. Again, I'm not religious, okay, but you need to wait for the connection here, because there is a connection between the globe and the Bible. So the thing is, when there is no argument from a glober, their final comeback will be, what does it matter if the world is flat or round? It makes no difference to my life. And yes, you're right, it does make no difference to your life. You can carry on living. It's everybody's individual choice, up to you. But how will you know where you're going if you don't know where you are? And how will you know where you truly belong and who you truly are? You are made to feel like your life has no meaning unless you become somebody. To become somebody is to own assets and to have lots of wealth. Therefore, the meaning to life is money. Materialistic goods. Selling your soul to work for money, and in return your existence will be meaningful. You will have fulfilled a rich life on earth. It's all about me, myself and I. And as Madonna said, I am a material girl in a material world. Man created the globe. Satan created his world because he wants to control God's creations, but he can't. So he created a fake world and made you believe that is where you live. Because we no longer have the time to care for others, to see loved ones, to enjoy family, enjoy the moment, because we're too busy spinning around instead of standing still. They've made you believe you're insignificant, you mean nothing, you came from nothing, a big bang. You're a measly ant in this great big universe. You're born, you live, you die, and that's it. So you must make the most of this life because you only get one chance. That's what they've made you believe on this globe Earth. Or do you? In the Bible, and I will take just one section because again, I'm not strong in this field and I'm not religious. But John verse 11:23 to 27. Jesus said to Martha, I am the resurrection in the life. He who believes in me will live even if he dies, and everyone who lives and believes in me will never die. Now, if you knew for sure that your soul will never die, would you be as greedy in this life? Would you let them control you and your mind to think that what is important in this life is money, work, slaving? We're born into it. We are all under a spell, an illusion of what our reality is without realizing that we are fighting a war between good and evil. This is also applied in law. We are fighting a war between the people and the legal or illegal system. So, illegals. So, the definition of the word legal is the undoing of God's law. If you believe you live on a spinning ball, a CGI manufactured globe, You do not believe in God's law, but man's law, which is all about legal and not lawful. And this is what we've been working on right now. The law of creation says, he who creates it owns it. They created the globe so they can own you. So the clever cult created a fictional world, and this world became the forefront of your consciousness. You have been mentally transported into their fake reality. Genesis 2.7, and I, God, created man from the dust of the earth, and I breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. We are living souls, the celestial, the terrestrial, and the celestial. If you believe you live on a globe, then you are not a living soul. You are a person, which means you are owned by a corporation. It is still flat. We're still on flat earth, Marie. We're just tying in why the lie. Book of Genesis 26. Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, over all earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, male and female. He created them. In this globe deception, man has made himself God. And he's been playing God for far too long, experimenting on humans, infecting them, both in the mind and in the body. Man has been interfering with nature, patenting nature, creating new plants. We've got GMOs now, creating viruses, patenting viruses, all in the name of science. They have even created new genders, which are scientifically impossible. In the Bible it says, God gave man dominion over the land, the air and the water. This is law, land, air, water. Man has given himself dominion over the globe in the name of science. Land is common law. And we have inalienable rights, rights that cannot be taken away from us because they were granted to us by God. They cannot place a lien upon our rights. But if you believe you no longer live under God's law and on God's earth, then you are willingly surrendering your rights to the man-made world, the globe deception.
The globalists.
In God's creation, we are told that only God is above man. In this fake creation of a globe, governments are above man, and you have subconsciously submitted your rights as free men and women to corporations. Air is the highest form of law. Air is canon law, which is trust law. All things held in trust, held in the benefit for another, are heirs. It's trust law. Genesis 1:26 to 2:25 is a trust indenture. This is how powerful the Bible is. The Bible's not just about the scriptures of God as our creator. It is a book of law. When you realize the power, you realize your freedom. God put the world under trust to mankind. We are the trustees. He is the executor. He placed it to us to manage it for the benefit of our beneficiaries, for generations to come, until the end of the earth, forever. Water is admiralty law, contract law, commerce. A true contract has to be between like kind. A man can have a contract with a man, a corporation with a corporation, not a corporation to man. There are 8 elements of a contract and has to be a two-way street. Under the globe world, a man can change and manipulate all the laws, taking away from you what God naturally gave you. Under God's law, on God's organic natural creation, you have the right to self-determination. Under the globe deception, you have no rights. You have privileges, if government says so. In our natural world, the flat plane, universal law applies, which is the law of nature or natural law. No harm, no injury, no loss. Treat someone as you would like to be treated. In the globe deception, they have taken over lands, claimed them as ours, countries created, constitutions created to govern the people. Initially, they tried to keep these constitutions as close to God's law as possible. This is shown in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Its intention, and it mentions, we are all born free. We all have our own thoughts and ideas, and we should all be treated in the same way. We all have the right to life and to live in freedom and safety. No one should be held as a slave, and no one has the right to treat anyone else as their slave. The law is the same for anyone and must treat us all equally. However, because these laws are all man-made, they can be changed, adapted to suit. Don't forget, he who owns it, he who creates it owns it. David Wynne Miller said that the first man to land on the moon looked back at the earth and said, Earth is a vessel in a sea of space. This comes back to common law. Globalism. The globe. Satan created his world because he could not take over God's. He created the globe, and now we have globalism. Globalists. Under globalism, under Merriam-Webster's dictionary, means a national policy of treating the whole world as a proper sphere for political influence. We're globalizing, globalization, global warming. There is no such thing as global warming, is there? No, because there is no such thing as a globe. They've made you believe the illusion. If you believe you live on a globe, you then believe in man as the creator. And then you've submitted your soul to man. In this new world, this man-made world, this globe, in the globe world, you are a slave bound by acts, statutes and legislation. In this world, you have taxes, you have citizenship, you have residency, you have restrictions. You are not a man or a woman, you're a person. In this world, you are governed without consent. In this world, you have to pay for a piece of the earth which was naturally given to you by your creator. This is Satan's world. In this world, you have to pay to use the highway, which is actually free to you. In this world, you have to pay for gas, electric and water, which are all natural resources given to you by your creator. Because they're natural. You cannot own something that is natural. In this fictional world, you have a fictional character. In this globe deception, you have got a fictional character, and it's called your straw man, which is your all caps name. In God's creation, God does not recognize person because it is an entity or a vessel in the world of the globe. In this fictional world, you are given a birth certificate and registered with the corporation and are no longer belonging to God. You are no longer a free, independent man and woman. You have now become a citizen, a person, a resident of the fake globe reality. You are now a slave to their world. Under God, He created you and He controls you. Once you are taken away from God's natural creation and subconsciously transported onto their world, you are now given privileges, provided you follow their rules in their country, even though no man can own this earth. But you can own a fictional one, like they can own your fictional character, because they've made you believe you live in their fictional world. In this fictional world, we have fictional digital currency, where money is created from nothing. We have fictional universe called the metaverse, the multiverse, the hyperverse. And in their world, you will own nothing and be happy. In this world of theirs, you don't even own your children. Because he who creates it owns it. That's law. Put a patent on it and it's yours. Only God owns the earth. World control system is to brainwash you, hypnotize you, thus separating you from your spiritual self and your humanity. He who controls your mind owns you. So, why the lie? To me, it's very obvious.
It's massive.
It's huge. If they can make you believe you live in a fake globe, they control that fake reality, like they control your fake fictional character, your straw man. As per God's law, until someone can bring Creator into a court of law to provide first-hand testimony, which is cross-examinable, that one person has more authority than another, then logic and reason can only conclude we are all entitled to an equal benefit of the fruits of creation, and we are all equal under the law, and no one is above the law. Each of us is gifted our mind, which owns our bodies, and our conscience allows us to determine right from wrong, and hence we can explore this reality so long as we do not cause another creation harm. It's mind control. That's all it is. And until you snap out of that, until you come back to the reality of where you live, how are you going to know who you really are? Because you think you're bound by all these legislations, you're bound by all these acts and statutes and fines and taxes. The only reason you believe that is because you believe we live in their world, which is non-existent. This period of time is about ascension and disclosure. We are mentally and spiritually ascending, and we need to disclose the lies and corruption to then manifest a new future, a just and fair one where people begin to build community rather than societies. But to do that, the first rule of manifestation is to know thyself. Know who you truly are, where you truly live, and where you truly belong. Now remember, your silence is considered your consent. Say nothing means you are accepting everything. That is my flat earth discussion. Anyone who truly tries to debunk flat earth will fail and eventually become a flat earther. When you truly, with an open mind, try and do that. This is why we have so many online flat earthers, and in particular, the guy DRTH, I can't remember his name, he was one of the biggest people trying to debunk it. Once you go flat, you will never go back, because the truth will always prevail. There's some amazing people that you can follow on Flat Earth. Go to BitChute, go to Odyssey. You've got Eric Debay, you've got the Flat Earth Society. Eric Debay restarted the Flat Earth Society because actually the original Flat Earth Society was manned by trolls. Yeah, so bullshit. You got Santos Bonacci, you got Eddie Bravo, David Weiss. He was the one that went to prove the Flat Earth was no good. ODD TV, Hibbler Production have put on some amazing things. And also, the other thing I want to say is, isn't it strange how one scientist can become famous for many discoveries, yet one person discovering one massive discovery will never become famous? One scientist, like Einstein, becomes famous for so many different things, yet there is no mention of one man who discovers one very, very important thing. Because they only want you to know what they want you to know. So that is the reason, my reason as to why I am, again, not religious, in the sense of, you know, I do believe we have a creator. I do believe we have a creator. And I started believing that when I realised that we live on a flat plane and not a spinning ball, and that we didn't come from a big bang. And I believe that the Bible holds the key to a lot of our freedoms. And this is another reason why when you use the Bible in a court of law, you are a free man and woman, considering you've not caused anyone any criminal damage, harm, loss. So you get called in to court for a fine. Who can impose that fine on you? Because under God's law, this earth was given to all of us. We all are entitled to an equal share. Under the globe deception, you're not. So if you don't know who you are, you're never, ever going to know where you're going. And that's it now.
Well done.
You know, I do believe that we have got the gatekeepers. And they've managed, you know, the people that really know, they actually know the truth. But somehow, you know, they've been corrupted. It's now up to us to find our truths. And, you know, I wanted to do this live. I knew I was going to get abused for it. I'm ready for it. I don't care. But learning what I've learned through the Flat Earth movement, through the natural law, through the things we've been doing this last year, getting involved with the trusts, with the common law, with everything just ties in. I see it. That's how I see it. It all ties in. And that's how you know who you are.
So once you blow the lid on globe, it just blows the lid on everything.
He who creates it owns it. Evil has wanted to take over nature. And they can only do it if they make you believe that you don't belong to the Creator. So then they can control you. That's how it is. And they create a fictional world. And you've been transported to that world. Now it's time for you to come back and know where you are. Nature doesn't lie. Nature can't lie. You can't patent nature. You can patent, for instance, a natural virus. You can't patent it. But Fauci can, you know, create a virus from that virus and patent it. That's what they do. GMO food, patented, make money. They make money on you. They've managed to...
Once you're vaccinated, they own you.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. So, I hope you've enjoyed it. I know it's long, but, you know, we've touched on certain things that I hope will get you thinking. And as to why I believe this is the biggest lie ever, because, you know, they don't want you to know who you really are. And we are organic. We are free men and women. And there is only God above us. And that is it. And the Bible is very powerful in law. I wish you all a lovely evening. And I shall speak to you soon. Bye for now.